When we write analytical paragraphs in English, we need to make sure that we have a structure that clearly helps show our argument. And one way to do this is to use a TEEEEL structure. So that's what we're going to look at in this video. First thing that always helps us to do is to examine the learning objective. And for your paragraphs, you are looking at how to analyse and explain the ways language and structure are used to shape meaning. Picking that question apart, we have the word language, which in this case might mean metaphors, alliteration, assonance, similes. Structure, which might mean things like stanzas, line breaks, meter, rhyme, enjambment, etc. And then meaning, the meaning in the poem and how it relates to a wider meaning about the world. And when we analyse, we're going to explain how language and structure create meaning and the meaning that they create. Often it's one of those things that people leave out. When we're using a TEEL structure, this is what each letter stands for. We have the topic sentence, where you state your point, clearly answering the question. That means you need to identify the meaning that is created, as well as summarising the techniques used. You will go on to elaborate or develop your point. Then you will give an example. And by an example, we mean you are going to quote a word, phrase, or line from the poem. At this point, you should also name the technique that you are discussing. When we explain, we then analyse how the example creates a particular effect on readers, including how the technique itself adds to the meaning. So if I said, if my quote was tall as a tree, I would say that it's a simile. But I wouldn't just say it's a simile that shows us something is tall, because I haven't explained how the technique works. I need to actually say, by comparing the person to a tree, it makes us consider how tall they are. You'll notice here that we have plenty of ease written down, so you can repeat this example and explanation multiple times. In fact, I highly recommend that you include 3 or 4 techniques per paragraph. And finally, we link back to the question and the topic sentence that has been given. So, when we're doing this, I want you to really think about embedding quotes so that your sentence flows, being specific, so don't just say the poem creates meaning, say the meaning that it creates, and you need to make sure you're naming your techniques. What you're not going to do, you're not going to write a review. You don't need to say it's an awesome use of metaphors. Don't list techniques without giving examples or explanations. Don't bullet point. You must write in full sentences and in paragraphs. And don't say something, as I said, creates meaning. Be specific about the meaning it creates. I've repeated that, but I think it's worth repeating because it's one of a very common mistake that people make. Okay, over to you.